Yes, with me.
Yeah.
Rolling speed and action. We are recording and now we're live from New York City on Fallon's Daily Toast. I am Diane, your New York City correspondent. I'd like to just thank Fallon for giving us the opportunity for me to interview one of my favorite New York City stand-ups. I mean, I've watched this man grow over the past 2.5 years, and his growth as a comedian is like, I think Godfrey put it, you are the age, like, say you've been in comedy for 5 years, you're a 5-year-old. Say you've been in comedy for 20 years, you're a 20-year-old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard that.
So are you a veteran? How long have you been in comedy? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You guys, everybody, welcome Jonas Barnes.
How's it going, guys?
Bi-coastal producer of a production called Smut, which is highly venerated here in New York City. He's a stand-up heavyweight on his way up. He's a philanthropist. Pretty savvy behind the camera. These are all things I just know about Jonas so far. And maybe being a published author soon.
Maybe.
We can't really talk about that right now, but we'd love to share with you guys when some more developments do roll out. We don't have a lot of time, but we really say thank you, Fallon.
Yeah, thank you, Fallon. Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, so I did come up with a list of questions for Jonas. I want him to switch spots with me. You take front camera, I'll take back cam. There you go.
Just gonna give you guys a lot of face at this point.
A lot of face. This
Yeah.
face.
It's
Can we turn
very
your
sweaty.
head on backwards so we can see the light?
I don't do the backwards hat. It's not gonna work because I don't even think that. No. See?
Yeah, that's fine.
Nah.
It's working for me.
There we go. We're good.
Actually, Jonas, before we get into all this, can I tell everybody how we met, the raw and edited version?
Sure.
Okay, so Jonas has a pretty intense history with having experienced so much from being at the top of his game and having the world at his fingertips to losing it all, becoming homeless, in and out of drug addictions, in and out of toxic relationships, love, lost, all these things. And somehow you recovered. Jonas is actually sober now.
Mm-hmm. I just hit a year sober on June 10th.
On June 10th.
Yeah. A year 100% sober on this one. This is the first time I've actually been 100% sober off everything.
A little more. Well, we met because, well, you guys know how friendly Dianne is. I saw them selling tickets in Union Square for this stand.
Yeah.
That's not all Jonas does for this stand. But we'll get into more Jonas's pedigree here in a minute. I just referred a psychiatrist to him.
That's true. You referred a psychiatrist to me. That was actually a huge help to someone. So that was a very good thing.
Yeah, I did a good thing.
You did a very good thing. Yes.
I don't know. We've just been kind of buddies ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been friends pretty much ever since that day.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Jonas is one of those unique individuals where, I mean, you guys from Boston, I like to call you the salt of the earth. But Jonas really is the salt of the earth as well. Just very easy to get along with. Nothing's going to offend this guy. We might have to do that from time to time.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to offend me. Like, that's impossible.
We're not going to be able to offend Jonas. I tried. Lord, have I tried.
I mean, my show is called Smut. What do you expect?
Oh, tell us, why don't we start off there? Tell us a little bit about Smut.
Well, when I first started comedy, I started in Seattle, and I actually took the show from the original creator of, I say took, but he actually gave it to me because he didn't want to do comedy anymore. So I took the show, and ran with it there in Seattle for a little while, then took it to Portland, and then now that I'm in New York, it's got a home base in Portland, Oregon, and New York City. It's pretty much like the tagline for it is the safe space for unsafe comedy. So we allow anything, and we want comics to have their voice 100% on the show without any restrictions. So it's like you live and die by the mic.
You live and die by the mic. Speaking of that, Jonas actually pulls in some pretty cool, I mean, top-notch acts. He's had Judah Freelander on the show. You've had, who's that British fella, comic?
Jeff Leach.
Jeff Leach has been on the show.
We've had Jeff Leach. We've had
Brian the Road. Janine Garofalo.
We've had all sorts of people. Roy Wood Jr. was one of our most recent ones. It was a really big one. We also had Jessica Kirson, who, if you haven't seen Jessica Kirson, she's easily one of the best comedians in the entire country. But yeah, we've had all sorts of people. We've been lucky enough to have, New York be such a home base of such great talent that we were able to have them on there.
Well, that's a direct reflection of you, because these people don't work with everybody.
No, it's true. I mean,
your producing skills, we'll get more into that, but that's just what has always astounded me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, you're a people person.
I do what I can.
I want to talk about your stand-up for a second. Jonas is actually, as great of a producer as Jonas is, he is an even better stand-up comic.
Thank you. I don't know. I hope I'm good. People pay me for it, so...
I know, he gets paid for it,
yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jonas, I was kind of like, I was just spilling out all these questions, and this is kind of random, but you, in the position you are in your career, having had this bi-coastal production and everything that's going on with you in New York and your connections back on the West Coast, do you have a 5, 10-year, 15, 30-year plan?
I think I did, but now I'm 11 years into comedy, so that kind of went out the window. So I'm just where I'm at now. By the way, we have thunderstorms right now in New York. We're just about to get blasted. But no, I'm 11 years into comedy, so my 10-year plan kind of changed as soon as I moved to New York. But I'm getting more opportunities now. I'm getting more stuff on the radio. I'm getting more stuff in writing.
Sirius XM?
Yeah, Sirius XM. I'm doing stuff with different websites for writing and everything. So the 10-year plan changed. The 15-year plan is to have my show be as big as it possibly can, the Smut Show. I kind of want it to be more of a bigger name than it is already, I guess is the best thing to say.
Yeah, no, we'll see. Jonas is also a talented cameraman. But one more thing on Jonas's stand-up. I've watched these kids grow. I've been in New York in and out for quite a bit of time here. Enjoy the rain showers. Mm-hmm. But I've really seen you grow into a beast.
Thank you.
On stage. I don't get to see you often, but when I do. Okay. So, who, as a producer, we kind of already went over some of your favorite comedians or some of the big names that you've worked with, but as a producer, what do you seek out in a comic? What are the qualities? Who does Jonas Barnes work with? I
mean, I'm going to work with pretty much anybody. I like to give people opportunities on the shows. I like to have people, I like putting younger comics on the shows for sure. But my biggest thing is that I like having younger, up-and-coming talent working with bigger names so that they can get the experience of working with a bigger comic and kind of get that just on-the-job experience thing. Also, so they can pick their brain if they need to, that type of thing. But I also want a comic that's not going to cause any drama, that's not going to cause any problems on the show, and that respects the venue that we're in.
Give us an example of a comic causing drama or something.
Oh, God. I'm in New York City. Insert comedian here. I mean, there's so many comics that happens. I mean, we work in an industry that's full of drunks. So, I mean, drama's going to happen. It's not a big deal. But it's just, that's something I pay attention to. I mean, if somebody's obviously like a normal drama causer, then I don't really mess with them and have them on the show.
Okay, that answers that question. I know you're not allowed to talk about your book deal, but there might be a book deal in the works, and it's a collaboration. How do you feel about this writing process? And the collaborating on writing? Is your editor spoon feeding you guys how to do this?
No, absolutely not. We pretty much have the idea of the show. We have the idea. We have the gist of what we want to do, and then the editor that we're working with pretty much said, take what you guys want to do and run with it. And then every time we go through one step of it, we kind of review it, check it, see how it's going. And no, the editor is giving us 100% our voice to roll with. It's actually pretty great like that.
Cool. Dream Girl and go.
Dream Girl? That's insane. Dream Girl, Scarlett Johansson. That's a dream girl. That's the celebrity crush.
Mine is, my dream girl is Penelope Cruz. When she was wearing that red dress in Below. When he first took him from his Colombian wife.
Oh, yeah. I remember that movie.
Yeah. Let's see. What qualities do you have as a producer? You already gave me those examples. What are your thoughts on love?
It's real, and when you know, you know. If it feels like it's forced, it's wrong. I mean, that's really about it. I mean, you can't go too far into it because that's such a personal thing to everybody, but that's my look on it. If it feels forced, it's wrong, and when you know, you know.
Has it ever happened to you?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not going to tell you now.
Not going to kiss and tell?
No.
Are the cliches true? Is it one, all's fair in love and war, and two, is it better to have loved and lost, never to loved at all?
All is fair in love and war. They're both extremely high intensity emotions and high intensity situations. So yeah, I definitely think that all is fair in love and war. But is it better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? Yeah, I think it is, because I think everybody should experience love. For real. I think everybody should experience what actual love is.
Not like me and Jack White.
That's superficial love.
I don't know if it is.
I don't know. I think if I ever meet ScarJo, it's not going to be real love. I think I'm just infatuated.
We'll see. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. When you were a little boy, what would you tell your mother that you were going to be when you grow up?
I had the same little kid stuff that I think most little kids had. Like, I wanted to be a firefighter or a cop or a space astronaut or whatever. You know, that stupid crap that was never going to happen. I think that's kind of the stuff that kids always wanted to be. But mine that was really, like, my big thing is I wanted to be an archaeologist for some reason. I had no idea why. I didn't even know what archaeology was, but I wanted to be an archaeologist. I think it's because I liked Jurassic Park. I think that was the only reason.
When did that transition into comedy?
That was actually, I wanted to be a comedian right after I started watching George Carlin when I was 15, which was definitely not okay with my parents. I always snuck that and watched Carlin. But as soon as I started watching Carlin, I didn't even understand half of the stuff that he was saying, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make people laugh.
What about Carlin?
What about him? I mean, he was a genius. He was brilliant. He was one of the best comics that ever lived.
Yeah.
But he was so intelligent, like, as a 15-year-old, I didn't understand half the stuff he was saying. But I liked it. I knew that. I like making people think and making people laugh all at the same time.
Okay, who else are your favorite heavyweight comedians?
That are working today: Doug Stanhope, Tom Segura, Jessica Kirson. I mean, there's so many of them. Honestly, Judah Friedlander is incredible. He's got some of the best crowd work I've ever seen in my life. Big J. Okerson, a New York comic. You guys have probably seen him in Boston. He's incredible. He's one of my favorite comics on stage. Gina Yashere. She's from Great Britain by way of Nigeria, living in New York. She's incredible.
Cool.
Yeah, so many comics. I'm one of those rare comics that, like, produces comedy, does comedy, and actually enjoys watching comedy. So I have my list of comics that I love is a mile long.
I mean, nobody told you to stop.
No, I love them. So.
Okay. Let's see. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. Do you have any hobbies outside of comedy?
Aside from photography, obviously.
You're very talented.
Thank you. Photography, I love writing of all sorts, like not just stuff for work. I like to just write in general. And also kickboxing. I like to do kickboxing, which is very weird given that I look the way that I do. But
I mean, you've lost, wow, lots of weight.
I have, but I'm still huge. I'm still big.
You're big. You're a Viking, aren't you? A Viking?
Yeah. See, right as he said that, we got thunder. Did you hear that?
Because I'm a rain monster. Do you think if I met Jack White that it would be love at first sight?
I don't know. I think we already answered that one, kind of. But you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe you guys are kindred spirits.
Yeah, I think so,
maybe you guys will lock eyes and it'll just happen.
Yeah.
Jack White's Jack White's hilarious. He's a great musician, though.
He's a fucking mastermind. Great composer, great sense of humor. Let's see. Is it true for comics to never to throw a joke away?
That's personal to every comic, I think. I have jokes that I did 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, that I still every now and then bring back and just add different things and new things to them. But I think there's a certain point after you write a joke, if it hasn't worked a certain amount of times, you should probably just get rid of it. That's just me personally. That just clogs up the brain with jokes that don't work. You don't need them in there.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I just want to go once more. I've watched a lot of New York comics growth in the past couple of years. You've really sprung.
Thank you.
Your writing's on point. You're funny.
I've been trying. I've been trying to make it better and better each year passing. So
don't hold his Facebook post against him. He's not as like dark as that on stage.
She's lying. I'm just as dark.
He scares me. Oh, there's people in a wet t-shirt contest. We're not getting wet. Jonas, I'm gonna ask you now to please give Boston 5 minutes.
Of stand-up?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn the camera on you.
There's no way. There's no way.
What?
No, there's no way.
5
Boston,
minutes, Jonas.
Sorry, Boston. You're gonna have to look me up online and give me ticks on my Facebook and my Instagram and everything.
Or come see him in New York.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that. I'm not just gonna give it away for free. That's one of the biggest problems with stand-up. They give it away for free too many times.
That's what my mom said about me and getting married one day if I kept on having promiscuous sex.
See, there you go. See? No, I can't give it away for free also because all of it is super, super dirty. I don't have anything that's even remotely acceptable for a random live
Fallon's
feed.
Daily Toast.
No, but you can look me up on YouTube. You can look me up on Facebook. My stuff on Facebook, I test out a lot of my jokes on there first. So you'll get the raw version of a joke on Facebook before I do it on stage.
How do we find you on Facebook? And are you taking any more friends? Or are you one of those that are like, I have 5,000 friends, I don't know the bullet?
No, I'm not at 5,000 yet. I'm getting close, but as soon as I get to 5,000, I'll just delete douchebags off of there.
Like me.
But it's just facebook.com/comedian Jonas Barnes. And then if you want to look at my photography, it's on Instagram at Jonas Barnes Comedy.
Jonas Barnes Comedy.
Yeah, that's
Instagram.
It's photography and funny stuff.
Do you have like a website, bro?
I don't right now. I used to, but it died, so I need to redo it.
So where do we want to follow you though? Like, how do you...
My Facebook is for sure where I post everything. Like
he always gets kicked off.
I post all my shows on there, and I have backup accounts now, so I can post stuff there. But also, I've been really careful about not getting kicked off anymore because the last one was 30 days, and that was terrible. So.
Okay.
I had to feed the vein. It was just like I was fiending for it.
Who are some dream comics you want to work with?
That I want to work with that I haven't
Dream
worked with?
collaborations, producers, comics, whomever.
Oh, man.
Writers.
That's hard to say because I've worked with a lot of comics. But one comic that I've never worked with that I've always wanted to work with actually is Russell Brand. Mainly because I'm not even the biggest fan of his comedy, but I love the way he looks at life, and I really just want to hang out with him in the green room. So I think that would be awesome.
We all have a little groupie in us. It doesn't matter how big you get.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's somebody that makes you like, woo.
Yeah.
When I see Dave Attell, I still get woo.
See, and like I would say Dave Attell, but I've worked with him, and like so he is legitimately my favorite comic to work with. In general, though, Dave Attell by far is my favorite comic to work with. So
yeah.
If there's going to be any dream comic that I get to work with, it would be him. I also haven't gotten to work with Jim Norton, and I really want to work with Jim Norton.
Jim Norton, who's that?
Jim Norton? You don't know Jim Norton? He's been around forever. He's got specials on Netflix. He's got specials on all sorts of different avenues. He's been on, he was on Lucky Louie. He was on the Opie and Anthony show when it was still around. He was on the Opie and Jim show because he was the Jim in the Opie and Jim. He's been all over the place. He's a legend in the business. So.
Any females?
Yeah, I mean, there's all females all over the place that I like that are funny as hell. Like I said, Jessica Kirson is probably...
we got to see this Jessica Kirson girl.
Easily in my top 3 comics to work with by leaps and bounds. Bonnie McFarlane, Laurie Kilmartin, she's incredible. Laurie Kilmartin is one of my favorite comics around. One of my favorite comics working today. Maria Bamford, I just actually started warming up to her stuff more because it was a little out of my wheelhouse at first, but then I started listening to her more and really fell in love with her stuff.
What's her style?
very awkward. In general, like on purpose, but it's hilarious.
Ginny and Grit, shit.
Ginny Garofalo is incredible. Nikki Glazer is fantastic. Rachel Feinstein, also very, very funny. There's so many women. There's so many women in comedy that are very, very, very funny.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's the truth. People sleep on that, man. People sleep on the fact that women in comedy are insanely funny. So, it's true.
I mean, most women in comedy.
No, I mean, there's shitty comics in both male and female.
Well, what it is. Can't be what it is not.
Yeah.
So what's coming up this year for you?
This year, I'm building up the Smut Show more. My writing's actually picking up a lot more. I've got an animated series that I'm working on. I've got so many things that are in the process right now. I'm also doing literally a podcast called The Process that's about sobriety and recovery in the comedy industry and in the entertainment industry, where I interview people that are in all different stages of their sobriety.
You'd interview Dave Attell.
Yeah, he's one of the people that I definitely want to interview.
He got sober, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he's been sober for a while. Him, Robert Kelly, Rich Voss. I plan on interviewing Rich Voss pretty soon on that.
It's cool to be sober.
I had to. I was a monster.
I'm getting a glass of Pinot tonight. Yeah, monster.
I was a monster when I was using. So.
Raindrops keep falling on my head. Dee-dee-dee. Big one, small one, some as big as your head. So, Jonas, do you think there's anything I didn't ask you, maybe that I was leaving out? Anything you wanted to ask me? Anything the audience wants to ask? Jonas? He's like a card catalog of Dewey Decimal System's worth of information.
We don't have enough time for all the stuff that I could go into today. But, no, I think we covered a lot. You know, we talked about comedy, we talked about life, we talked about love, we talked about hate and war, we talked about many things.
What about revenge?
Revenge? I think it's toxic, and I think it takes up too much energy in your brain.
Well, that's it. Live from New York.
Later, you guys.
Bye, Boston. Say thank you, Boston. Thank you,
Boston.
Fallon's Daily Toast. Say it to the camera.
Fallon's Daily Toast. Thank you, guys.